Five Nights at Freddy's is a topic that really doesn't need much introduction. With 21 games, over 50 books, and a movie with another one in the works, it's easy to see how FNAF is one of the most popular and influential horror franchises ever. And a little over a week ago, the first ever game turned 10 years old. To celebrate this occasion, FNAF released a new game called Into the Pit, based on the book of the same name. This game stood out from the rest due to it having both a unique art style and unique gameplay, and was legitimately the most enjoyable FNAF game in a long time, at least in my opinion. In this video, I will discuss what makes Into the Pit such a phenomenal inclusion in the FNAF series, as well as a couple of issues I found within the game that could hold it back. Before I start, I will say that this video contains spoilers for Into the Pit, so if you haven't played it, I highly recommend you do, and then come back to this video later. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of the video. Into the Pit takes place in a pizza place called Jeff's Pizza, where our player character Oswald spends most of his time. In this pizza place, you find an abandoned ball pit, which you hop into. Upon entering the ball pit, you are transported to an alternate version of Jeff's Pizza, presumably a past version, which happens to be Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. You play a couple of games before a Spring Bonnie animatronic attacks you and takes your dad, who you will spend the rest of the game trying to save. Once Oswald returns to the present-day world, he finds that his father has been replaced with the Spring Bonnie animatronic, who is trying to keep Oswald from leaving his house and re-entering the ball pit. This leads us into the core gameplay loop of Into the Pit. Unlike other FNAF games, where you mostly stand in one spot and try to stop animatronics from reaching you, Into the Pit allows the player to move freely across many different locations across the map. The two main places you'll travel between are Oswald's house, as it is the starting location at the beginning of each night, and Jeff's Pizza, as that is where the ball pit is. The gameplay also differs from a typical FNAF game, because instead of trying to stop the animatronics from reaching you, you have to actively avoid them. What I mean by this is, just like the player, the animatronics are free to move around the area, and the player has to strategically move around the building to try and avoid them. The three main animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, won't kill the player, but rather each one will do something to slow the player down or alert Spring Bonnie to the player's location. Speaking of which, Spring Bonnie is the main antagonist of this game, and the only animatronic that will chase down and kill the player. Getting caught by him will result in a game over. If the player is being chased by Spring Bonnie, then the best thing to do is find a hiding spot, such as the vents or under a table. Doing so will lead to a sort of puzzle in which the player has to push a couple of buttons to either escape or make Spring Bonnie lose interest. I find this style of gameplay to be some of the best in the FNAF series, because it breaks the mold of a typical FNAF game and does so in a very effective and fun way. Unlike some other games in the series, Into the Pit also offers a ton of mini-games, achievements, and multiple endings for the player to get, meaning the replayability of this game is also one of the best of any FNAF games. Next, I want to talk about Into the Pit's art style, which will include things like visuals, character designs, and animations. I'm just gonna say that Into the Pit has the best style of any FNAF game, hands down. Pixel art has always been my favorite style for video games, and Into the Pit has some of the nicest looking pixel art of any game I've played recently. The animations are very smooth, especially during jump scares, and the artists manage to keep a wide, colorful palette whilst also keeping the game's creepy and dark atmosphere. The character designs are top-notch too. I would even go as far as to say this is the best the animatronics have looked since the original games. The main character I want to talk about is Spring Bonnie, who is most definitely the best-looking character in the game. His animations are fluid, and the pixel art gives him a nice new look for this game, while also staying true to the original design from the book. He also has the best sound design in the game, even having actual voice lines. Overall, this is probably the best art style FNAF has been in, and I would absolutely love to see more games with this style of pixel art. Finally, I want to touch on some issues I found while playing, though the list is quite short, as I didn't run into a lot. First of all, the gameplay is kind of confusing sometimes. It can be hard to know where to go or what to do at certain points in the game because hints are so vague. It can lead the player to feel lost for a bit until they do eventually make progress. I wouldn't say this is a massive issue, just something to be aware of. I also ran into a few glitches, such as this door being stuck open and not letting me through. But overall, it's a very polished game. Like I said, this is kind of a short section because I didn't run into any other issues in my gameplay, but if you want to add something, let me know in the comments. Overall, FNAF Into the Pit is one of the greatest inclusions in the FNAF series so far. The gameplay and art style help it stand apart from typical FNAF games in a fun and satisfying way. And I'm excited to see what the future of FNAF games will bring. If you made it to the end of this video, then clearly you're interested in my content. Just subscribe already and leave a like to show support. Anyway, thanks for watching.